34 seasons, 750 episodes. That is what season 34 of The Simpsons added to the show. Is 22 more episodes, meaning another season. Okay, maybe I'm being a little harsh there, but let's talk about it. So, a lot of people were talking last year, after season 33 of the show, about how this was actually a really, really good season. Keeping it real, there were rumblings, sorry, I can't talk. There were rumblings of a Simpsons renaissance around the corner after a huge portion of the episodes here managed to be pretty decent, and a bunch of them were even really good. Among them were Pixelated and Afraid, Asterius Flanders Parts 1 and 2, Lisa's Belly, My Octopus and a Teacher, Marge the Meanie, and a Maid Maggie. And so this year, I unapologetically, however regretfully, was way more excited for this season than I probably should have been. So, if we get into this season, I realized fairly quickly, as in like just 8 or 9 episodes in, that this was not going to be a season like season 33, where a large portion of the episodes are decent. While I don't think much here is particularly bad, I just don't think much here goes beyond decent. So when the season started, we got Habeas Tortoise and One Angry Lisa. And it's kind of a bad sign when your first 6 episodes are all on the top 10 of the season. Like, that doesn't leave very much room for expansion in the top 10, and you've still got 16 episodes left. But One Angry Lisa and Habeas Tortoise, while I do think Habeas Tortoise was a lot better, I think that they were both fairly funny in like openers for the season. And I think that despite One Angry Lisa having a fairly predictable plot, it was still pretty good. We then move in to probably the best period of the whole season, episodes 3 through 6. Now, there's only one here that I wouldn't call great, and that is The King of Nice, which, again, it's kind of just another One Angry Lisa, except a little bit better, where it's a pretty generic plot, but it also just works, and it's kind of funny, so I kind of forgive it. But then we get pulled in for episode 3, 5, and 6, which are Lisa the Boy Scout, Not It, and Treehouse of Horror XXXIII. Lisa the Boy Scout is one of the best modern season episodes. It does great, kind of clowning on hecklers of the show, as well as kind of subverting your expectations. How it starts as just like this predictable, worse version of The Secret War of Lisa Simpsons. Based on its opening, you could probably guess that that's what it would be. And then it just completely shifts gear and goes in a completely different direction. And I love it for that. Fantastic episode. And we continue going up with the Treehouse of Horror specials this year, or the Halloween specials. So, The Simpsons has done one other Halloween special that wasn't a Treehouse of Horror before, that being in season 27, with Halloween of Horror, which was great. In fact, on many, including my own list, it's very high up, and it is a modern classic. This one is, but that one was like the town of Springfield celebrating Halloween. This one isn't. This one is like if you took, if it kind of reminds me of if they took, okay, more like if they created 2 Treehouse of Horrors, and one of them had 3 segments, and the only one that was good was the It parody, or the only one that could be salvaged with it. And then they took it, and then they were like, okay, let's turn this into something great. And so they took it, and they made a parody of it, and it works in almost every way. Like, it's freaking great. I enjoy it. I enjoyed it immensely, and kind of, not gonna lie, same thing, after season 27, that Treehouse of Horror in that season, 26, is bad, but Halloween of Horror is great, so I kind of got scared that this Treehouse of Horror wouldn't be that great. Luckily, I was mistaken. With this, Treehouse of Horror is better than Not It, with its 3 segments being the Pookadook, which is, it's pretty good. It is, I think it's mostly saved by the jokes mostly landing, as it's kind of just like a slightly better version of that Pazuzu Maggie segment from a few years back. And then we've got Death Tome, which was the one that everybody was flipping out about. Personally, I don't think it's the best segment in the episode. I think it's a nice step up from the Pookadook, and I think that's something this Treehouse of Horror does, is that every segment's a step up in quality, which is quite cool. Yeah. So Death Tome was just a parody of Death Note, and it was a parody of anime in kind of that sense. It was a very, very entertaining little segment. It wasn't an episode, and I thought it was quite good. It had a bunch of jokes that landed, and I was very happy with that segment. I did not think it would be beat. And then Simpsons World came on. Simpsons World is a great segment. Like, I think that it's very creative in the way it handles things. I also love that imitation of the Cell animated episodes that they do in this episode, and they also did it a few times in Lisa the Boy Scout, which I really enjoyed. I thought that was super cool. That I should have mentioned that, but that's awesome. But like, Simpsons World and was just in the entire way good on gags, and it was funny, and it was very creative, and I enjoyed it immensely. However, after you pass those first 6 episodes, the season kind of struggles to continue finding its feet. Most of the episodes here are just, like, not really worth mentioning. Like, I did not care for From Beer to Paternity, Step Brother from the Same Planet, Game Done Changed. One of the episodes I was most excited for this year was When Nelson Met Lisa. I was really hoping that would be a good one, and while it wasn't bad, it's definitely on the lower end of my ranking of future episodes. Sadly, yeah, it's just not that great. Top Goon is a pretty decent one, but that's kind of how the season goes. After those first 6 episodes, you get a bunch of kind of lulls, and then you get like one that's kind of pretty decent, and then it goes back to it. Top Goon was another Nelson story, and I thought it was sweet, but like at the same time, it was like kind of, it didn't work fully for me, but at the same time, this season has been remarkably good at providing me with at least like jokes that were good to hit. I personally did not like My Life as a Vlog. I have not really looked at reviews of this episode, so I'm not sure what the general consensus is. I thought that it had some ideas that would work. I don't think it really used them properly, and I think that it was overall a mixed bag of an episode, though not awful. It just wasn't that good at all. It had an interesting format, and I like seeing that the show is much more willing to use technology, and this one just didn't come out very well, though I like where they were going with this idea. There were 2 Mob episodes this year. I was excited for them because I always enjoy having Fat Tony around. And last year I really liked A Maid Maggie. I thought A Maid Maggie was really great. And so having the Many Saints of Springfield and Clown vs. Board of Education here definitely did help out the season's overall quality. Though I don't much care for either of them that much. They're both decent episodes that I will give credit and that they are funny or whatever. And they're definitely creative. I definitely like Clown versus Board of Education more than The Many Saints of Springfield, but overall, I did enjoy both of those. To end off on a couple more episodes I didn't really like, we have Carlson Rides Again. Was decent. Sorry, that's on a couple more episodes I don't really like is Pingal, Fan-ily Feud, write this episode off, and Homer's Adventures Through the Windshield Glass. Homer's Adventures Through the Windshield Glass I was actually pretty excited for. I thought this could actually be, good. It wasn't. I really didn't enjoy it, to the point where I think it's probably the worst episode of the year. Right up this episode was just, again, generic, except it wasn't funny enough to take it above, and Fan-ily Feud at least kept my attention. I also thought it was kind of dumb, but it kept my attention. Pingal was fine. It's a sequel to that season 1 episode, Life on the Fast Lane, that I really love. So I'm kind of upset that they gave it this crappy of an episode. It's not really that good. I mean, it's not that bad, but it's not that good either. 30 years too late. I also thought that... Did I already mention that I thought Bartless was cool? I thought Bartless was an interesting idea with an interesting conflict, and overall was a fairly good episode. Hostile Kirk Place was one I enjoyed more so for concept and where they went with it as a whole. And The Very Hungry Caterpillars was kind of what I thought it should have been. It wasn't anything bad. Obviously, it's not great. It's not like classic Simpsons levels, but not a lot. That's a really hard thing to ask for. And I thought that overall this stuff was very enjoyable. So as a whole, I'm not getting a ton of vibes that this season is continuing the path that many thought The Simpsons was about to go on with season 33. However, it does do one thing that season does a lot. It did experiment with the format a lot more than a lot of more recent seasons. The thing is, though, is that unlike last year where the 2 wilderness adventures for me worked out, and doing a body shaming episode worked out, and a Simflix format worked out, and a mob episode directly involving Fat Tony to Maggie, and an episode about fashion, and Shauna and Lisa, as well as an episode about Bleeding Gums Murphy's deaf son. A lot of those episodes had ideas that weren't really done also, and except the difference is that a lot of them worked here. Whereas I think that episodes like Homer's Adventures Through the Windshield Glass, My Life as a Vlog, Fan-ily Feud, and Game Done Changed didn't work as well, in my opinion. I did enjoy the season more than I think a lot of people would have, because I'm not critical enough of this show. But as a whole, I think the season did a lot of things well. It just also did an equal amount of things kind of poorly. I just want one more grievance that I thought. So, last year they did A Serious Flanders, which was a Fargo homage, but it was great, and it was they opened it with a Simflix thing, and I am so disappointed that we didn't get one this year with one of those that was shown on the Simflix menu last year. Come on, Simpsons. Truly shake it up a little bit. I would have loved to see another one, because last year's was so good. I genuinely hope that they bring those back, because I honestly really enjoyed that whole thing, and I think it would be cool if they brought it back. Yeah, that's it. In the end, I think the season 34 is kind of a 1 step forward, 2 steps back scenario. That might be the title of the video. because I think that, personally, I believe that The Simpsons has been on a bit of an upswing since season 31, because especially after, I really don't like season 30. I thought that it was mostly really poor, and slowly up until season 33, the amount of episodes that were genuinely good was going up. Like, I had like 8, and then in season 31, and then I had like 9 or 10 in season 32, and then I had like 14 or 15 in season 33. I feel like this one continues that streak of having more than 4. But at the same time, it's also dropped back the amount and dropped back the overall quality of the season. I think this one, in quality, fits a lot closer to season 31 than it does to season 33. However, I am excited to see what they bring in for seasons 35 and 36. See you. I have no idea. I don't upload very often, but I will see you at some point. Anyway, I will leave my general recommendations in the description of the video. And I will probably start thinking in a few months about how this video is completely wrong and how my opinion's completely changed.